translator, okay? And this is for, who's our translator? Where's our translator? Thank you very much for translating. This is for our Russians. I have to tell you, ladies, I spoke in Moscow, and I spoke in St. Petersburg. I did, before we brought our women last year from Russia. So I went to Russia, and one of the first talks I gave to a group of Russian women was on marriage. And my marriage talk is very up. I'm leading the group A, the half the group. Did you like my marriage talk? My group? And I know kneeling was unbelievable. How much do you love kneeling? Okay, my group, they love kneeling more than you love. How much do you like my marriage talk? Okay, so I'm in Russia, and I'm giving my marriage talk. And you know, my marriage talk is very animated, it's very funny. And the translator was this Russian man. He's sitting on a chair beside me. They didn't have simultaneous translation, so I would speak and then he would speak. Do you understand? And I'm going, no, and he's going, and I'm going on, and I finally said to him, can you give me something? Okay, can you give me? He was just like, he explained to me, Americans speak in a song. I went to the store. Okay? Russians do not speak in a song. Russians speak like this. We love you. Welcome. All right. Ladies, I can't tell you how special this trip is. This trip is special. I literally have no words to explain to people back home what is going on this trip. First of all, I want you to appreciate, and I'm sure Israelis have been telling you, what it means to this country that this group is here. 370 women got on planes and came. You are awesome. Last night, it was a crazy holiday. Okay, the craziest holiday ever. All right. I didn't have words to explain to people. So first of all, I want to apologize to the second group. Okay, to Neely's group, ladies. Okay. Why? Because the first time I met you was last night, and for some of you who couldn't get in because it's hard to explain, but there was this Israeli woman who was in charge of security. And listen, we needed, especially now, important security, but she was taking no prisoners, all right? And so at a certain point, she would not let more women in. And it wasn't a crowd control thing. It was like an exit entrance thing, was whole thing going on. And I was really getting upset because I wanted everyone to move inside. And we were in a fight, and she was not gonna take no, and then she walks away. And then there's a guy, our executive director of the JWRP, his name is Ben Perry. He's Israeli, he's 4th generation television. He is fantastic. And he's always telling me, Lori, be Israeli, because I'm Canadian. Where are my Canadians? Where's Ottawa? Canadians, we're polite, we stand in line, we're sorry for everything. So at the beginning, when I was working with Ben, and I would always say, well, I'm sorry, he said, stop saying you're sorry. What? Because Israelis are sorry for nothing. Where's my Israeli women? We love you. Okay, sometimes you're sorry. So he told me, what? Oh, they're not sorry because they never make mistakes. So Ben is always telling me, Lori, be Israeli, okay? Like when I travel with him, and they call for first class, business class, we're not in first class or business class, he just starts getting up. And I go to him, he goes, just be Israeli. If they're confident, they just let you in. Be Israeli. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to be Israeli. So there was a side door that we opened up, that we weren't allowed to open up. As soon as the security woman turned around, I waved to all the women that were in, and I'm shoving your tushies out the door. I'm so sorry. It was the first time I met you. It was so nice. I think this was a big step. And I'm like, hi, Lori, go up and go to the right and go outside. Okay. Thank you for giving such good sports last night. You were unbelievable. Give yourselves a hand. All right, so I have some important announcements. The first most important announcement is that there's a woman from Los Angeles and it's her birthday today. Pamela. All right, now let's focus. One of the other special things about this trip is that we're here during the Shabbat project, the Shabbos project. Rabbi Warren Goldstein, who was the chief rabbi of South Africa, when he became chief rabbi, I think he was literally 31 years old, all right? And now it's 11 years later. He's a very big thinker, and he started the Shabbat project 2 years ago in South Africa. And everybody kept Shabbat together, and they got all these stars and singers to do it, and they were making challah everywhere, and they had Friday night dinners in the street. It was amazing. And then he wanted to bring it to the world. So last year, it was his test outside of South Africa, and it went great. And this year, it's like my Facebook feed is literally filled with all of the women making challah last night all over the world. There were in Toronto, there were 2,500 women in Toronto, okay? There was 1,000 women in LA. They were in Mexico and Argentina and Boca, and they were all over, and Adrienne Gold, who knows Adrienne? Adrienne, she makes a pencil. Adrienne Gold had the best, she's also our trip leader, not on this trip, but on the next trip. Adrienne Gold was a former national television star in fashion television, and she's in Toronto. She's unbelievable. So she had the best line. Last night she spoke in front of 2,500 women. She goes, "Tonight there are no Jewish women in the malls." Everybody was making challah together. Everybody all over the world, we're all making challah. We're all bringing in Shabbat. And Rabbi Goldstein was more impressed with our group than any group in the world, because it's the first time Tel Aviv, Israel, ever did such a thing. And he knows about the JWRP, and our JWRP women were filling the halls all over, like they were, and in Brooklyn, there were 2,600 women in Brooklyn. It was unbelievable. So anyway, so I'm so happy that you were able to be part of it, but that was the beginning, making challah. And once you make homemade challah, ladies, all your challah last night did not go for naught. It was being baked. It was baked last night and being distributed to families in Tel Aviv who normally don't keep Shabbat, and they're all getting your challah. Okay, so thank you. So once you start making homemade challah, you can't go back. All right? I have to tell you, the JWRP women definitely take this mitzvah seriously, and we have many guests for Shabbat, and often we're their first traditional Shabbat experience ever. And I was telling the other group that I used to be nervous when we had guests for Shabbat, like when I was a little young Rebbitzin, because often I have met them before, or my husband knows them, or vice versa, and I'd be so nervous they're coming over. Then I realized, what am I being nervous about? They're going to the rabbi's house. They're freaking out, okay? So my job is to make them feel comfortable. And they may not agree with my lifestyle or my views or how I vote, but they walk away and they always say, "She makes her own bread." Amazing. I'm telling you, it impresses them to no end, all right? So once you make challah, you can't go back. But that's the beginning, and now we have Shabbat. Shabbat is coming. You're going to feel it in the air today. You see, like the sirens are. When you hear sirens tonight, it's not an air raid siren. There's a siren that goes off in Jerusalem to say it's time to light candles. It's amazing. It's time to light candles. Shabbat is in the air here. People are buying their challahs and they're buying flowers, and everything's shutting down. Today, Friday for Israelis is usually people don't work or they have half a day. This is the beginning of their weekend, so to speak. So it's like Shabbat is at your back, like it's the wind blowing you into Shabbat. If you're ever going to keep a Shabbat, this is the one. Not only, and this is the first time I could say it to the ultimate degree. Why? Because not only are you in Israel and in Jerusalem and we're taking care of all your needs, so it's easy, but it's the Shabbat project. There literally are millions of Jews around the world who never kept a Shabbat, and this Shabbat they're keeping. And this bracha, this keeping this mitzvah together, I believe is one of the reasons why terror is going down. I'm telling you, things are getting quieter and quieter and quieter, thank God. And we are part of that, because you have to fight on the physical front, and you have to fight on the spiritual front as well. So of course, we arm them, and I'm raising money right now to get some bulletproof vest for a certain unit that's short right now here. And some of the guys, I got some men from LA to donate 10 vests. LA, where's LA? Your husband's okay. And so we do, on the physical front, we fight. Our son served in the IDF. He was a Chayil Boded. He was a lone soldier in Kfir, and he was a sharpshooter. And I have to tell you, it was very disconcerting to me when our son decided to go into the Army. Why? Like, he's my kid. I wouldn't trust him with my food processor, and they gave him an M16, okay? But it was great for him, and it built him. It built him, and it made him a man, and it was really a tremendous thing. So you fight on that front, but you fight on the spiritual front. You also fight on the spiritual front. Everything that happens, there's a physical reason and there's a spiritual reason, and you have to react on both. And so for us, and blessing comes to the Jewish people when we're united, and to feel united with Jews around the world for this Shabbat of all Shabbats, and it's Parshas Lech Lecha, where God tells Abraham to leave your country, leave your city, and leave your home, and go to the land which I will tell you. You're living this Parsha. This is you, ladies. This, I'm telling you, all the stars are aligned, and all the worlds have come together, and we are going to spend Shabbat together in Jerusalem. I couldn't be happier. So what's the idea? What's the idea? What's Shabbat all about? What's Shabbos all about? What is going on here? The whole idea of Shabbat is we stop creating to recognize there's a creator. We stop creating, we step back, we stop creating, and we let God create. Shabbat was made for me. Why? I'm a very high energy person. I'm a person who loves to accomplish, and I used to work in the world of advertising. I worked for Leo Burnett, and I would all week long, running, working, and finally TGIF, right? TGIF, thank God it's Friday. But that meant I was running around all weekend long, having fun, all right? Because I didn't grow up in a traditional Jewish home. So I'm running around partying and having fun. And then, Monday morning blues, here we go again. So I'm running all week long working, and then I'm running, trying to have fun on the weekend, and I'm running. And unless God told me to stop, I wouldn't stop. I remember the first Shabbat I ever kept. When Shabbat was over, I remember thinking, the world kept turning without me. Like, I really couldn't believe it, that I could step back and the world would still keep going. And we need to know that. And we need to remember that. We're going to disconnect in order to connect. We are addicted to connection. We're going to disconnect from all these iPhones, iPads, all the IIIs that we have. I have to tell you, a few years ago, there was an Ivy League campus, and the a family studies department of an Ivy League campus decided to declare family night. They declared family night. We're going to have family night. And they picked a day, March 10th, and family night. And they asked, you know how they declare things? First there's Mother's Day, Father's Day, then Secretary's Day, then Sweetheart's Day. So like everybody's got a day, all right? So they're going to do family night. So they told everybody on that night, disconnect everything, okay? Like, leave all the electronics behind. Sit down, have dinner together, talk, play games, enjoy each other for one night a year. So what was I thinking? I do this every week, all right? I do this every week, and thank God for Shabbat. Thank God it's a day we disconnect in order to connect. How many of you have been sitting in restaurants, a bunch of people around the table in the restaurant, and what are they all doing? That's what we're doing. The greatest thing about Shabbat is I shut it down. I disconnect in order to connect. I turn off my phone. We grew up, we didn't have these phones, remember? Remember? Okay, remember pay phones? Remember writing letters from camp? Okay, like we didn't have any of this stuff. And we all survived. And we all had relationships. You know all these friends we have? How many friends do you have? Well, now we know. Okay? I have 4,999 friends. I really do. I usually have 5,000 because they cut you off at 5,000, okay? I usually have 5,000, and then some people drop off, and then I have a list of people who want to be my friend, and then like they go on to become my friend. Like it's like, they're not your friends. They're not your friends. Like friends? The Talmud says if you have 1.5 friends in your lifetime, you're rich. 1.5. That's a whole different talk, which I'm not going to give, about friendship. And we have 4,000. He's my friend, she's my friend, we're friends, I'm my friend. What? What happened to our relationships? What happened to conversation? What happened to real connection? We think, and our kids think, that connection is a Facebook post. That connection is a tweet. That connection is, yeah, we're together, but we're all, what? This is not connection. Ladies, we need connection. We need relationships. We need this. This is like oxygen for human beings. I'm afraid for the next generation. What are they going to turn out like? What kind of relationships are they going to have? We need real friends. So disconnect. That's what Shabbat. Once a week, disconnect in order to connect. Stop creating to recognize there's a creator. Does God need our recognition? Does God need us to keep Shabbat? No. We make the mistake and we think we're doing the commandments for God. Do you ever show up, maybe on a Shabbat morning, in your local synagogue, and you're thinking, God, here I am. And there's not even a bar mitzvah, okay? You're insulting God. You think God needs you to be in shul? You think God needs your prayers? You think God needs you to fast on Yom Kippur? What? He's God. God has no needs. That's why he's God. How do we know that? What's the greatest contribution the Jewish people gave to the entire world? What's the greatest concept? Monotheism. Monotheism. One God. That's it. One God. Abraham stood up against the whole world and said, one. Whoa. Must be a Jew. So smart. One-stop shopping. Never forget his name. Easy on the bumper stickers and the buttons. What? If this is the greatest contribution the Jewish people gave to the world, that changed the world for all time, we should know what's so great about it. Did you study Greek mythology in school? Right? Zeus and Thor, and they steal each other's wives. We study them as myths, mythology. It's so stupid, of course. People used to believe this stuff, ladies. People believed there was a God of love, and a God of weather, and a God of commerce. Got a weather problem? Go to the weather God. Money problem? Go to the money God. Love problem? Go to the love God. Sounds like a good system, doesn't it? Specialized gods. We have specialized lawyers today. We have specialized doctors. What would be wrong with specialized gods? What would be wrong? If you have one God with certain attributes, that means he has certain strengths and certain lacking. One God means he's got it all. No lacking. Ladies, what can you give to somebody who has it all? Do you ever go to somebody's birthday and they're really, really, really rich and you're thinking, what am I going to get this guy? He's got it all. There's always something you can give him. My father, after all these years of Father's Days, he doesn't need a tie, he's retired, doesn't need a tool, he's got it all. There's always something I get my dad. But when we say God has it all, we mean platinum, platinum, black, 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 American Express, no limit. What can you give to somebody who really has it all? Nothing. That means he can't receive. It means he can only give. It means this whole world, ladies, was created for us, for our pleasure. When my kids were little, they thought they were cleaning their room for me. They're doing their homework for me. When my Moshe was a little boy, he wanted a cookie. I go, what do you say? He goes, please, thank you, excuse me. Like, pick the word you need to hear, Ima, and give me the cookie. As if I needed to hear those words. I didn't teach Moshe to say please, thank you, and excuse me. For me, it's for Moshe. So he'll be a mensch. So he'll have pleasure. So he'll know there's a source to everything. It's not for me, it's for Moshe. You're not doing God any favors. It's not that the Jewish people keep Shabbat. It's Shabbat keeps the Jewish people. But how does that change your life? You wake up, it's Saturday morning. Got my house, got my kids, got my car, got my life. Or you wake up, and it's Shabbat, and God created the world. Look around, got my house, got my kids, got my car, got my life. How does it change it? So Pamela, now I know when your birthday is, right? What day is it today, by the way? October what? What, the 23rd. You should know who's your birthday. So Pamela, imagine next October 23rd, imagine you get a package in the mail, okay? And the package says, happy birthday, Pamela, okay? From Lori Palatnik, Rockville, Maryland, okay? How do you feel? Yeah, she's happy. Oh my gosh, she remembered it was my birthday. It's amazing, okay? And impressed, but you should be impressed, okay? So, so I take off she unwraps the brown postal paper, and inside is like a package, like really beautifully wrapped, springy bow and sparkles. How do you feel now, Pamela?
Even more impressed.
We're doing good? Okay, okay. She unwraps the wrapping paper, and she opens up the box, and what's inside? A beautiful sweater. What do you think, Pam? Good? It's LA. Okay, okay, bye. Minneapolis. Where are you? Okay. Okay, but imagine, okay, so you never wear a sweater in LA. It's a light sweater. Fine, okay? Okay, okay, fine, okay. And she sees, oh, it's a sweater, okay, a light sweater. And she looks and she sees there's a tag on the collar. And the tag says, handmade by Lori. Okay, are you impressed? No, you better be there. This is totally fictitious. I can't sew a button. I'll send you a book. I write books, okay? But imagine I actually did this. How do you feel now? Yeah, no, she's blown away. It's unbelievable because it's unbelievable, okay? All right. Oh my gosh, not only did I remember it was your birthday and that I sent you a present, but I handmade it out of love. So it's October 23rd, it's an unusually cool night in Los Angeles, and Pam is going out with her friends to celebrate her birthday. She puts on the sweater that I gave her, okay? She looks in the mirror, she looks beautiful. She goes out into the night. The whole night, Pam's friends are going, Pam? Did they say Pam or Pamela?
Pamela.
Pamela, sorry. But can we be Pam? Who's going to come out? Pam's good? So the whole night, her friends are saying, Pamela, beautiful sweater, where'd you get it? And she's telling the story. Lori Palatnik, remember I went to Israel and she went to the champion? Look, she made it, look, she made it for me, okay? The whole night people going, Pamela, beautiful sweater, where'd you get it? And Pam's going, oh, the Lori Palatnik in Israel, look, she made it, oh, okay. This never happened. Not just because I can't sew in it. Never happened. It's October 23rd. It's Pamela's birthday. She's going out to celebrate with her friends. It's a little bit of a cool, unusually cool night in LA. She's looking in her closet for a sweater. She finds the exact same sweater, but the first scenario never happened. And she doesn't know where she got the sweater from. Did my sister leave this here? My cousin? Do you ever find something in your closet and you're not sure where you got it from? Mm-hmm. It's a girl thing. It's a total girl thing. Okay? Okay. But so she takes the sweater, she puts it on, she looks in the mirror, she looks beautiful. She looks beautiful. She goes out into the night. The whole night her friends are saying, Pamela, beautiful sweater, where'd you get it? She goes, I don't know, I just found it in my closet. I don't know, did my sister live this year, my cousin? I don't know where it was last year, I don't know. The whole night people were, Pamela, beautiful sweater. And the whole night people were, I don't know where I got this. In both scenarios, when Pamela looks into the mirror, she looks the same. And in terms of warmth, she feels the same. But the first sweater that I made, I remembered her, that I handmade it out of love and sent it to her, the pleasure, you cannot compare the pleasure of wearing that sweater to the exact same sweater she just happened to find in her closet. So ladies, you can wake up. It's Saturday morning. Got my house, got my car, got my kids, got my life. Or you can wake up and it's Shabbat and God created the world. Got my house, got my car, got my kids, got my life. But now I know that everything in my life is a gift from my Creator. God says, don't remember that I created the world for me. This is for you, my dear. So you'll know that every child's smile, every teardrop, every raindrop, every dollar, every breath is a gift from your Creator. On the surface, your life might look exactly the same. But God wants you to have the pleasure of knowing that He's there, that He loves you, and that everything in your life is a gift. So how do we do this? We stop creating to recognize there's a Creator. How do we step back from creation? How do we define creation? So creative activity. What's some creative activity? Name a creative activity. What's creative? Pardon? Knitting. Painting. Scrapbooking. Making challah.
Singing.
Writing. All these things are, anybody gardeners here? Gardeners are creative people, okay? Yeah. When people hand me plants, somebody gives me a plant for a gift, I say to the plant, I'm sorry what's about to happen to you. Please forgive me, okay? But for some people, they have that green thumb and they're really making it work, okay? I have to tell you. So all of these creative activities are very beautiful. I was raised with a lot of art and culture growing up because my mother's an artist. And we would go to art galleries on Sundays growing up, and my mother really taught us to appreciate art, and I happen to love French Impressionist art. I really do, I love French Impressionist art. So when I was backpacking through Europe, when I was in my 20s and did that backpacking through Europe thing, I went to Paris, I went to the Jeu de Paume, which is the greatest French Impressionist collection, and I floated through there. When you go to a gallery, and you're walking with your friends, you're like, oh, that's nice, that's nice. Oh my gosh, come, see this. When you hear a song, that's a nice song, that's so, oh, turn that up. Oh, I love that song. Or a poem that touches your heart. These things touch your soul. There's creative activity that's transcendence itself, that you feel otherworldly. In the Torah, God tells the Jewish people, build for me a mishkan, build for me a portable tabernacle, and I will dwell amongst you. Almost like a portable synagogue in the desert. It starts talking about building the Mishkan, then it breaks away and tells you to keep Shabbat, and then it goes back to building the Mishkan. And we learn from this that when we have to stop creating, the ultimate creative act is to bring God's presence into the world. You see this with, again, when I'm talking about transcendence in art and music and poetry and all the things that we do. You see a star-filled sky with no city lights. You could touch eternity. You see the Rocky Mountains. The Rocky Mountains, it's so overwhelming to see the Rocky Mountains because you feel small in front of God. When you feel small in front of the Empire State Building, it diminishes you. You feel small in front of man. But when you feel small in front of the Rocky Mountains, you feel small in front of God. If God created these mountains and He created me, then I'm something. That's what we're trying to tap into. God created the world and He created you, and you're something. God created the world just for you. You complete His world. We have to remember that. Because if you know that I complete this world, then you have to think, then what am I going to contribute to it? I'm something. So where am I going to get my talents and skills and opportunities and resources? What can I do to contribute to God's world? Because I'm an important part of it. Years ago, so all the things that go on to building the Mishkan, everything that goes into the building of the Mishkan is what we refrain from. We refrain from. So because that's the ultimate act of creation, is to bring God's presence into the world. So there are certain different categories. There's 39 different categories. And they're like categories. For example, they sheared sheep in order to take the wool and dye it and make tapestries. Now, is anybody shearing sheep on Shabbat at home? Anybody shearing sheep? See, you're practically Shomer Shabbos, all right? So obviously we're not shearing sheep, but it's a category, all right? So that category means that if you have a sweater and there's a loose, on Shabbat, you should pull it out. Your world is complete on Shabbat. You don't take away from it and you don't add to it. My life is complete. I'm here. I'm complete. It's so fantastic to step back and to take it all in and to count your blessings and to connect to your family and to your community and to your Creator. And you don't have to just let it be. Just be present. We're never here. We're always dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Shabbat, be here, be present. And if you're ever going to keep a Shabbat again, this is the one. Now, that means whether it's electronics, okay, that's one of the other categories, okay? Like we cook everything before Shabbat, and you can warm it up, but you can't turn things on and you can't turn things off, right? There's all these laws about it, but you don't have to worry about most of it. Why? Because we're doing it all for you. Your hotel is geared for Shabbat. One of the elevators, it says Shabbat elevator. That means it's going to go up floors and stop and open automatically. You don't have to press any buttons, and it's going to go down automatically. or you'll do Stairmaster. And for those of you in the King Solomon, somebody was drinking when they designed the stairs in the King Solomon, because you go and they lead nowhere, and then you go so up there. But eventually you will find your floor, okay? I really don't know what was going on there, all right? So, I'm going to be moving, and we have an apartment here in Israel, but I'm going to be moving into the King Solomon for Shabbat, so it's going to be great. So let the elevator do the work for you, all right? Again, but it's not work. It's not that you stop working on Shabbat. I work very hard on Shabbat, okay, even at home. Whether it's entertaining or teaching or anything, it's not, you don't stop working, you stop creating in order to recognize there's a creator. For some of you, and the women before have told me, they'd come up to me on Shabbat, like tomorrow, and they said to me, you know what? I didn't plan on keeping Shabbat, but now that I'm in it, I want to keep it, but my family back home, I'm calling every day, and they're going to be worried if I don't call. So this is what we suggest to you now. If you really want to get into it, and first of all, most of the time it works out great, because when you're sleeping, they're awake, and when you're awake, they're sleeping, all right? Yay! Okay, so let's hear it for our sleeping children, all right? So when you, it's so funny, when Sippy was singing this, that's the song she sings her kids every morning. Oh, okay, okay. Sippy, where are you, honey? If you sang that to the Palatic children before they have their coffee, you would be injured, okay? This is not flying in my house. Very cute, Sippy, but you're not sleeping over at my house, okay? She's like Julie, the cruise director on the Love Boat, you know? Okay. So, where was I? Oh yeah, so calling. So this is what we suggest. If you want, tell your family back home before Shabbat begins here, guys, Shabbat's coming. And for 26 hours, I'm going to be out of commission. So if you decide to call them, you'll call them. But if you decide not to call them, they're not expecting your call. Do you understand? So the best way is just put that stuff away. There's something called muksa, which means to set aside. Things that we don't use on Shabbat, we don't even touch them on Shabbat. So I shut off my phone and I just put it away. I don't even touch it, right? Pens, money, cameras. Don't bring your cameras tonight to the pre-Shabbat concert, right? Because once we light candles, right, it's Shabbat. Leave it behind. Be free. I don't bring a purse on Shabbat. I am so free because we become slaves to all of this technology. Slaves. So years ago, I'll just end with this story. Years ago, so before a practical thing, you're going to get a Shabbat key because the electronic doors, okay? So on Shabbat, the hotels issue you a manual key, but the key will stay at the front desk. Does this work also in the other hotel, not just the King Solomon? Is that how it works? At the Premier Kings? Who's at the Premier Kings? It works there too? The same way? Okay. So your Shabbat key, there's one key per room, so you and your roommate have one key. Don't take it out with you. Why? If you take it out and your roommate comes back, then there's no key. So always before you go out, give it back to the front desk. So if it's not there, you know your roommate's up in the room. Got it? All right? And if you lose the key, it's going to cost you, not the JWRP, okay, if you lose your manual key. Don't lose your manual key, all right? Also, set your lights before Shabbat in your room. Decide, like, whatever. Like, look, I keep the bathroom light on so that I can open the door and close the door so I have lights, all right? For some of you, I think at the King Solomon, you get a Shabbat lamp, a kosher lamp. Yeah, so some of you we had donated. I'm sorry, the other hotel doesn't let us. It's like a kosher lamp that you could turn. You turn it on, and then there's a thing where you manually turn. It doesn't turn the bulb on and off, but it goes dark and light. It's really cool, okay? So you can enjoy that. Well, somebody left me when I have to find it at the hotel. Okay, at Asia. All right, so final story. And then we're going to have snacks and enjoy, and you can either snack down in the lobby or bring it back up to the second floor, and they even will let you bring it to your seats, all right? Ladies, years ago, we moved from Denver to Washington, D.C. And I get along with my kids. I have 5 kids, 3 girls, 2 boys. I have girl, boy, girl. No, I don't. I have girl, boy, girl. Oh my gosh. Has it been that long since I saw my kids? Okay. So I have our oldest daughter, Shoshana, is a film director. She lives here in Israel. She just left this morning on a speaking tour. She works for Jerusalem U. She directed a film called Crossing the Line 2. It's about anti-Semitism on campus. It's about how anti-Israel activity on campus has crossed the line to anti-Semitism. So this is the big deal now out there in the BDS movement. So she's on a speaking tour. She's going to be in LA and she's going to be in New Jersey. And so she lives here, and then our other son, he served in the army here. He's back home, now working in politics, and because we're in DC. And our daughter, Rafaela, is living she lives in New York, and she works in New Jersey. And then we have, Rafaela, I'm going to forget my kids, Moshe. Our son Moshe came before. Oh my gosh. My son Moshe is, he's studying here in Israel, so I have 2 kids here in Israel, and then our daughter Malki is a senior back home. So when they were little, and I get along with my kids, thank God, but when I'm going to talk a little bit tomorrow morning about how to do that even better, but when they were little, one of the conflicts we had when they were younger was library books. Do you have an issue with library books when they lose them? Does that make you nuts? Does that make you crazy if they lose the library books? So not only are you going to pay for all the overdue fees, you have to pay for the book, and now you're angry. Okay, so my kids are voracious readers. Voracious readers. When we moved from Denver to DC, I did some research and I announced to the kids, guys, no more library books. We're not going to the library anymore. Okay, why? Because I don't want to have this conflict. But I did my research. I found the library bookstore. The library bookstore. When library books in the area get threadbare or people are cleaning out their own personal home libraries, you bring it to this library bookstore and they sell them for like 25 cents, 50 cents, 75 cents, and then the proceeds go to support libraries, right? Okay? So I brought my kids there and I told them, guys, take as many books as you want, 25 cents, 50 cents. I don't care if you lose them. Blow your nose with them. Use them to open up the door. I don't care, okay? Because that's it. And then when they want to return them, we return them back and they get recycled through. Great, but now, no more conflicts with my kids. Yay! Okay. So the first time I brought them, they were getting the books, and there was an area of used, like, movies and games and puzzles. And my kids love puzzles. They love them. So I bought a couple of puzzles, and I brought them home. And there was one, it was Times Square. Like 1,000 pieces, Times Square. And they spent like 3 days putting together this puzzle. It was a used puzzle. What did they realize at the end? There's one piece missing. They were so angry, they broke the puzzle. They just like, they got up their eyes, wait, hold on, you can see it's Times Square, there's only one piece missing. For them, forget it. So I learned, note to self, never buy used puzzles. But also, what else did I learn? I realized God created this whole world. And each one of us is a piece of the puzzle, of the picture, the beautiful picture that God created. If one is missing, it's not complete. You complete the picture. You personally. This Shabbat, get in touch with them. Get in touch that you're part of something bigger, and you see now you're part of the sisterhood. What is it? Why am I created? Why am I here? What does God want from me? He wants so much. He wants you to realize your potential. And He brought you here to think about it. Everything's going to settle down on Shabbat. Take advantage of it. We're going to all do it together. Good Shabbos, ladies. Shabbat Shalom.